Usually, Minecraft looks like this, but not anymore. I transformed all the Minecraft dimensions, which made Minecraft a lot harder. Bro, what? Would I be able to stand strong and survive 100 days in spherical Minecraft? Watch until the end to find out. On day 1, I began exploring my spawn island, and after mining the singular tree down and scrounging whatever I could from the island, I came upon a village. Immediately, I began stealing the residents' food supply. This is because I love starving people. I then ran past a homeowner to rob their life savings and home appliances. After breaking into another house, I harvested the last of the town's food reserve. I also took their alarm system for absolutely no reason. I'm a good person, I promise. Well, besides the fact that I also stole a bed from a child. I spent the next day and a half sailing into the infinite abyss of water, and was rewarded with this beautiful sight. Not as beautiful as my girlfriend though. After looting a shipwreck, I returned to my boat and sailed through the night. On the morning of day 5, you could begin to see the effects of my sleep deprivation. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea. Hello, Mr. Spooder. Would you like to die? I sure would. For the next 2 days, I trekked the desert before finding a temple, where I gathered a few golden apples and explosives. I then torqued on my bed until nighttime. In the morning, I found a very scary looking cave, which I did not enter because I'm not a masochist. Next, I lured some chickens into a hole before absolutely decimating any hopes they had of a future. I found a ruined portal on day 9, which turned out to be absolutely useless, so I took out my rage on more chickens. Twice. After nearly dying, I took a pledge to become a better person and— oh my god, it's a pupper! Speaking of puppies, this is my dog Frosty. If you're enjoying the video, please subscribe. It'd make Frosty very happy. I named my new friend Cookie and promised that no matter what, I'd take care of him. No, seriously. I fed him 117 times. Desperate to find some shelter for Cookie, I ran through the plains until I found a village. After committing manifest destiny on someone's property, I blocked off the entrance and began decorating the house. On day 11, I killed some animals and once again stole the community's food supply. Over the next few days, I mined some coal and iron, but had no luck finding a real cave. Feeling defeated, I made a shield and resorted to strip mining, during which I found some gold but little else. My luck would turn around on day 16 though, when I staircase mined into an iron vein. I promptly smelted this before turning it into a brand new shirt. Nothing like the smell of coal fumes and burning metal. After destroying the environment and finding a cave, I mined copious amounts of ores. While time consuming, I returned home with 47 diamonds, so the trip was well worth it. Now, much like my life, my chest was completely disorganized, so I spent day 25 sorting it to proper form. The next morning, Cookie and I went to gather materials for an enchantment table. Together we killed cows, horses, and created orphans. I seemingly forgot to block the entrance that night, as when I awoke, there were 2 townspeople just chilling in my house. Luckily, they were unarmed. Get it? And exited on sight. I made sure to block up the entrance this time. While Cookie ran around the house like a madman, I cooked the food we had gathered the previous day and rewarded him for his effort. I spent the next day gathering more leather as well as sugarcane, and was able to craft all 45 books that I needed. Just like me, day 29 was absolutely useless. I got sidetracked looking for wood and mined 4.5 stacks of terracotta instead. Speaking of me being absolutely idiotic, I decided that the only correct way to gather the wood from my bookshelves would be to chop down the houses of innocent civilians. The only issue was that, oh shoot, I didn't mean to. Safely back at the house I stole, I crafted the bookshelves and built the enchantment room. I finished off day 31 by crafting my armor and tools. It was about time that I started working on my base, so I crafted over 9 stacks of oak slabs and began terraforming the basic layout. And there it is. Let's ignore my inability to replace the section of stone for a minute. I'm going to create something in each of these plots with something massive in the center that you're not going to want to miss. But before I could continue on with my base, I needed to enchant my gear. I didn't want to enter the nether yet, so the only logical choice was to mine 14 stacks of wood before recreating slavery. Capitalism. I knew of a hole where a few villagers were trapped, so I abducted, I recruited a few willing workers to join them. After trading off all my sticks, I had acquired 216 emeralds. Using my absolute dominance of capitalism, I scammed a civilian into giving me tons of ender pearls. I began day 46 by enchanting my sword. While I didn't plan on heading to a fortress just yet, looting 3 would make that process much quicker. After enchanting my pickaxe, I decided to try out bows to see if they could possibly be useful in the spherical world. And wow, they were so much worse than I expected. There's still hope though. Arrows shot from a crossbow shoot on a much straighter path, so they At this point, I didn't have nearly enough levels to enchant my armor, so I decided it'd be best to mine quartz for some levels. Nice. And after my first round of enchanting, I had a pretty comfortable armor set. Now that my gear was improved, I was able to start constructing my base. So I headed to the savannah to gather some logs and got to work. And there it is. I never used it, and it gives off prison vibes, but that's okay, because after fixing the stone abomination from 2 weeks ago, it was time to complete plot 2. Cookie had been with me for quite some time now, so I decided that I would make him a doghouse using some of the materials that I'd collected earlier. Now, this one also looked like a prison, but hey, at least there's a cookie on the front. Speaking of cookies, food was definitely not a problem for me. After borrowing a bunch of hay bales from villages, I had absolutely no use for a farm, but I was running low on ideas, so I decided to make it anyways. Am I going insane? Probably, but that wasn't helped by what happened when I made signs for Cookie's doghouse. Wait, what? What is that? What is that? Well, if I ever need to find my way back home, I'll just use the magical floating text in the sky. Oh yeah, I made a sign for the farm as well. Farm. On day 57, I took Cookie out for a walk and gave him a yellow collar. I didn't have a name tag yet, but I promised I would get one in the future. Cookie seemed to love the doghouse, and after spending an entire day staring at this, I was very proud of my work. After going through the portal and mining aimlessly through the nether roof for a day, I found myself in another fortress. Beautiful fire animation on these blazes. Wait, I'm supposed to kill him? Oh yeah. 15 rods from 8 blazes? God, I love looting 3. After destroying the spawner, I blocked off the platform and collected nether brick blocks and fences. These would become useful later. But before I could go back to the overworld, I had to mine for netherite. Well, I didn't have to,
but I yearn for the mines.
Let's go. While my ancient debris smelted, carbon monoxide. I got prop 4 in my helmet and leggings to max out my armor. And now that I had all the enchantments that I needed, it was time to make myself purple. Oh, okay. Not like that. Bro, just breathe! And at last, I had full netherite armor. I was now ready for the deadliest activity this entire video. Building an aquarium. It was time to build plot 4. For some reason, I had a lot more trouble with this than the other ones. And those dang pufferfish seemed to always poison me out of nowhere. Why? Remember the blocks I grabbed from the fortress? It was finally time to put them to use and build plot 5, the nether dimension. I was really happy with how this build turned out. Almost as happy as when I slaughtered a bunch of innocent Before I could go to the stronghold and enter the end, there was one last thing I needed. Invisibility potions. Why? Well, the world may seem spherical, but remember, these are just shaders. Nothing has actually changed about Minecraft. So while it may seem like I'm looking at the sky, I very well could be looking into the eyes of hundreds of endermen, which would lead to instant death. And because I don't want to put plant intestines on my head, I'm just gonna make the mysterious glowing juice. And now that I was equipped with 15 invis potions, I'd have 2 hours of coverage in the end. It was time to locate the stronghold. And after 4 days of traveling through scorching sands, roaring waves, and forests that remind me of anti-disestablishmentarianism, I made it. But before I could place the eyes, I needed to take down the portal guardian, a mob so deadly that it... After preparing the portal, I downed a radioactive smoothie and entered the end. At the start of the fight, things were going really well. I took down all the crystals, and didn't have any trouble doing so. But after knocking the dragon down a third of its health, this happened. Okay, I'll admit it. That was the best shot of my life. And as a reward, I was granted the best XP level in all of existence. Nice. After collecting the dragon egg, I realized I was practically out of blocks. If only I had a way to get more. Oh right, I forgot, I'm surrounded by 3 million endstone. Once I had gone through the gateway, I began my quest to find an end city. At this point, I was fueled by absolute adrenaline. Nothing was gonna stop me from surviving the next 2 weeks. Not even my blocks literally being invisible. And on day 86, I finally made it to an end city. I didn't stay too long, just enough to grab some shulkers, collect some end-themed blocks, and grab the electric. After leaving the end city, Minecraft was beginning to feel fairly normal. I mean, not that this is by any means normal, but I felt like I was getting used to the spherical world that I was trapped in. That was, until I saw one of my old bridges. What the? After heading back through the gateway and the end portal, I began to work on plot 6, the end dimension. This one was just as good as the nether build in my opinion, and it's really awesome to see how my builds have progressed since the start. But we still have one build left. One build to make what could be my final statement on the world. But first, I needed to get a lot of materials. Starting on day 91, I collected all the gravel and sand I needed. I also needed an egregious amount of wool, so I spent days 92 and 93 shearing sheep. I then annihilated a bunch of squids, collected terracotta, and mined cacti. And by the end of day 95, I had everything I needed. Let's go! And there we are, a massive statue of myself, standing strong just as I had proclaimed in the intro of this video. But my work wasn't done just yet. It was the beginning of day 100, and I still had another sunset to see. Before the day was over, I needed to get a name tag. No matter what, I was not gonna break the promise I made to Cookie. So I traveled to a nearby village, and with only a few hours left, I got a name tag. I returned home and was able to officially name Cookie after the person who inspired me to make this video. And as Cookie and I sat together, watching the final sunset in front of a giant deformed version of myself, the truth became clear. Life isn't about being at the center of everything. It's about finding those who make you a better person just by being around. Thanks for watching.